Hi traders, welcome back to another weekly workshop. So today's workshop is going to be on your self-assessment. All right, I want all of you to really dive into this topic and really think and assess your current level of experience and your level of competency. All right, so let's go into the chart and start looking at this. So this is what I call different levels of self-competency. So some of you might be thinking, what is this? Basically just divide this as 4 different phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. This is basically just your level of experience and your level of self-consciousness. So I believe most of you are not in these phases. It's what we call unconscious incompetence. So what does it mean? Unconscious incompetence is basically means you are unaware of whatever mistakes that you are actually making. You're making a lot of mistakes, but at the same time, you're not aware that you are making mistakes. If you get what I'm trying to say, unawareness. So when you first got into trading, just look back in the past, and maybe after this workshop you realize how far you have achieved and how far you have outperformed yourself. All right, when you first started trading, do you remember the first day you actually learned how to use TradingView? The first day you're trying to learn about MT4. You don't even know what is the base currency, counter currency. You don't even know how to click the buy and sell button, counting your position size, managing a risk, trade management, etc. None of you are actually at these phases. This phase is basically just you are completely clueless on whatever you're doing, just like a complete rookie in the market. You don't know what you're doing. You're basically just gambling. Most traders, trust me, most traders, especially when it comes to the retail industry, are actually stuck at phase 1, which is unconscious incompetence. They have no idea that they are doing something wrong, and hence they just keep doing it until they eventually blow up their account. They lose all of their self-confidence, they have low self-esteem, they got beaten up in life, and maybe they even lose their entire savings. As long as you get through phase 1 and 2, I think 3 and 4 are relatively fine. Alright, absorption phase. When you're in phase 1, you are likely to just constantly learning new things. Remember, some of these components doesn't just have to stuck at phase 1. Unconscious incompetence, some of these elements can actually be involved in phase 2. It really depends on your personality. If right now you are still someone who's constantly trying to learn new things, I will say if you are learning good things, good materials, that probably is good for you. But if you are still trying to learn new stuff, like you're trying to learn SMC, you're trying to learn about fundamentals, you're trying to trade 10 different pairs, you're trying to do this and that, I'll say it's not so effective in terms of boosting your consistency, because consistent trader, they always have certain things they are good at. They don't jump all over the market and start trading different pairs. Like myself, I don't trade a lot of pairs. Some of the pairs that I personally trade are gold, pound dollar, pound yen, and probably sometimes dollar yen, dollar CAD, 5 pairs maximum. But each single day I usually cap myself within 1 forex pair, and that's it. If I trade gold, I trade gold. If I trade pound yen, I trade only pound yen, because in that way I can put 110% of focus into the price action of the specific pair that I'm looking to trade. So first phase, what hell? Unrealistic expectation. A lot of beginner trader, do you remember the first day when you come into the market and you start seeing people making millions of dollars, $10,000 a trade, and you start thinking maybe it's real? Of course it's real. If you have enough experience, if you put in enough effort, enough consistency, enough discipline, eventually you'll be there. I still remember the day when I was making $10 per trade, $100 per trade, then bump onto $1,000 a trade, 5,000, 10,000, 20, 30, 40, and it goes on. Why, someday I hope I can have a 6 figures day, but that is just part of the process. I can't skip into into a different level. If you're at level 1, you have to go through level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and eventually climb to level 10. You can't expect yourself at level 3, then you just want to become level 5 overnight. If you're thinking that way, you're looking for a shortcut. If you're looking for a shortcut, then you're destined to actually fail. Do not have unrealistic expectation. And beginners, they usually have high level of self-confidence. Most of the beginner traders that I've seen, especially among so many students that I actually coached, they have high level of confidence in the beginning of their trading career, because they have no idea how tough it is, because they have no idea how many trials and errors you have to make, how many times you actually have to fail, etc. Then it goes on to conscious incompetence. Now you realize that you have shortcomings, you realize that you are making a lot of silly mistakes, you are doing things that you're not supposed to do, therefore you are looking to change them. But you are still unaware how tough is this entire journey. You're unaware, and in phase 2 you're probably constantly trying to testing new stuff. You are still constantly absorbing new information, but you start implementing your own set of rules. You start having a little bit of consciousness. You understand that this is tough. This is really tough. Most traders, when it comes to phase 2, this is most likely where they are likely to give up. Why? Because reality hits them and their imagination just got smashed, right? So most traders actually gave up around phase 2 because their confidence is at low, their self-esteem is at low, they feel like giving up because they failed probably a couple of times. And I think the fact that you're in this community means you're not at level 2 as well. You're not at phase 2. You're actually at phase 3. This is what I've been observing as well. A lot of you are actually stuck at phase 3. Just acknowledge the fact that phase 3 is where you have conscious competence. Conscious competence means you are constantly trying to remind yourself to not do the wrong thing. Get what I'm trying to say? You are constantly reminding yourself to not overtrade, to not over leverage, to not revenge trading, etc., etc. Alright, so on phase 3, which I think most of you are actually at this phase, you are aware of what you're doing, you're working hard, you have a strict filtering process, you are building a level of confidence, you are acquiring necessary skill sets and mindsets to actually become a good trader. But you are still making mistakes here and there. So don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say you're making mistakes, whatever. I'm not trying to put you down, but phase 3, in fact, is even profitable traders can sometimes be stuck at phase 3 because humans have two things: emotion and discipline. Emotion and discipline are two evils that actually cause you to be stuck at phase 3. If you're at phase 3, it basically means you have already gotten you have already gotten there. It's just a matter of time that how long would it require for you to bump onto phase 4. So remember, if you're at phase 3, which means you know what you're doing, you know that you're not supposed to make mistakes. So what I want all of you to do is actually reducing the number of mistakes that you make. Because if you are willing to constantly remind yourself to not make mistakes, the more mistakes that you reduce, it will increase your probability to be in phase 4, which is unconscious competence. Unconscious competence, or phase 4, basically means you no longer need to remind yourself what you need to do. You have arrived at a level of experience where you know what is the right thing to do, and you rarely make mistakes because you have a very strict filtering process, triggering process that reminds you that I should be doing A, B, C, D, E before I take on a trade. You cannot just jump on the chart and say, right, I'm looking to take a trade, give me my money. All right, that's not going to work in the market. If you want to be consistent in market, if you want to constantly extract profits, extract money out of the market itself, you need to know how much effort you actually need to put in. And in fact, when you have arrived at phase 3 and phase 4 or phase 4, you are usually trying to expand your capital. You're trying to scale up. What does it mean by narrowing? You're narrowing what you are looking to trade every single day. Because again, good traders are not traders who take 10 different setups at a time. They're not traders who trade 5 different pairs looking for 5 different setups at a time. You're not looking for that kind of crazy, unrealistic expectation. What you're actually looking for is what setups provides me high risk reward at the same time without me constantly sitting there worrying about the market. I can actually start swing trading like myself. I'm actually trying to transition into a swing trader recently because I just feel like, yes, I'm at phase 4, but sometimes I still go back to phase 3. But why do I go back to phase 3 is exactly because short-term trading. When you are an intraday trader, or sometimes I even scalp the market, it will involve a lot of emotions and psychology. And what I'm trying to do is I want to reduce my error to the lowest possible because I've already achieved consistency. Don't get me wrong, I've already have that level of consistency. In the long term, I will be proven to always make money over a year period, over 5 years period. But what I want to do is to make sure my equity curve is slowly and smoothly moving up. I do not want to see my equity curve just swinging back and forth, because again, it depends on what are your current state of life as well. I have a wife, I have a baby. I do not want to sit in front of the chart for 10 hours, 15 hours a day just looking for different setups. Right. If I transition into a swing trader, what I need to do is to wake up, record my trade calls, study entire market, record it then for you, record our setups breakdown, record workshop, then I will start putting in my limit order. Most of my orders are based on limit entry. I no longer want to just sit in front, just look for a setup, whatever. I'm utilizing a lot on alerts and etc. So remember, when you have arrived at a level of experience, which means if you're at phase 3 or phase 4, you will constantly find yourself going back and forth. Remember, there will be time, even when you are at a level of consistency, you find yourself going into a deep drawdown. Like myself, last year, I actually went into a crazy deep loophole of I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Trust me, at certain years or certain stage of your trading journey, you will all of a sudden have a few months. For me, it took me about half year to actually get out of that loophole, that dark circle. I was actually doubting myself a lot because of some of you know that I have my previous community. This is actually my new one. When I was actually coaching my members, I felt like I no longer know what I'm trying to do, what I'm explaining, what I'm teaching. That's why that entire half year was very difficult for me. Even my partner know as well. I feel like I can make money, I can teach people, I can find good setups every day, but I just no longer know what I'm trying to do and what is my goal in trading. Do I want to become a full-time trader that constantly looking for different setups? Every day when I wake up, I just sit in front of the chart from morning until 1 a.m. That was exactly me in my 3rd and 4th year. Trust me, when I wake up in the bed, the first thing I do is I clean myself up, I have my breakfast, I get my coffee, Then I just sit in front of the chart. I literally just have my lunch and dinner in front of my trading desk, which is extremely unhealthy, and I do not recommend any of you to do that. Trust me. So I want all of you to focus on skilling up, because like Marius, like Nepal, Rehui Zhenke, William, all of you actually have experience. Trust me. Why? Because all of you know what you're looking for. The fact that you don't rely on me to trade have already proven that you are a self-sufficient trader. You know what you're looking for. You put in the effort to actually find your own setups, and I can see that a lot of times your setup, or a lot of your setups, are actually different from mine. But that's fine. That is the reality of trading. You have to rely on yourself. You cannot be relying on someone else to trade profitably. And that's the purpose of this community as well. I'm not here asking all of you to follow my setup every single day from A to Z. In fact, I just want to provide a trade call that allows all of you to have sort of a filter of what you want to see. Maybe you are trying, you want to avoid this trade, maybe you want to avoid that pair. Then you start looking for your own setups, because you have your own edge, you have your own strategy. All right, so I hope this workshop actually helps you a little bit. And remember, the outcome of this workshop is I want all of you to identify your level of competency. What are your levels of experience, and what can you look to improve to actually bump up onto the second phase or third phase or fourth phase. All right, once you've arrived at stage 4, that's where you can start to skill up. You need more capital. You can't be trading full-time with a $5,000 capital. You can't be trading full-time with a $10,000 capital. In fact, you can only start trading full-time with $100,000. That is the reality of trading. No money, no deal. You need a lot of money, because I'm not talking about prop trading. Honestly, prop trading nowadays, there are a lot of prop firms out there that provides you great account size. But do you want to rely on someone to trade full-time? Or do you want to become a self-sufficient trader? You have your own capital, etc., to actually trade full-time. So this is one of the biggest questions that you perhaps have to ask yourself as well. All right, so that's it for the workshop, and I hope all of you learned something new. Trade safe, take care, and I'll talk to you all later.